It is my honor and my privilege to introduce the 50th governor of the state of Tennessee. Since his election in 2018, Governor Bill Lee has been an advocate in both his words and actions for the work that we all do in corrections. Under his leadership, Tennessee passed monumental criminal justice reform that will change the face of corrections for generations to come by breaking cycles of violence and keeping families intact. The legislation signed by Governor Lee will change the trajectory of criminal justice in Tennessee by focusing on alternatives to incarceration, increasing educational opportunities for those in prisons, and addressing the main issues that sent people to prison in the first place. More than 20 years before his election to the state's highest office, Governor Lee spent his free time, mentoring men coming out of prison as a volunteer with the Men of Valor Prison Ministry Program. He brought his passion to helping others to the state capitol to work on tough issues like good jobs, great schools, safer neighborhoods. When pay raises for correctional employees in Tennessee had to be put on hold during the pandemic, Governor Lee promised our employees that he would not forget them. He kept that promise, and our staff received a significant pay raise. Well, Governor Lee's promises were made and kept. Under his leadership, Tennessee was named the best physically managed state in the country, the best business climate in the U.S., and #1 in the nation for advanced industry growth, job growth, and small business growth. Governor Lee is a man of tremendous faith and belief in God. He and his wife, Maria, our wonderful First Lady, have been involved in ministry, faith-based ministries all across the world to help people in Africa, Haiti, Central America, as well as the Middle East. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming a man I'm proud to call a true servant leader, a friend, Governor Bill Lee.
Many of you all know Tony will be transitioning from state government as the head of our Department of Correction. And as sad and upset with him as I was when he told me that, I know that he has a lot of work to do going forward, and I know that God will bring just the right person to our Department of Correction in the day ahead, so I'm very hopeful for that. Thank you all for coming to Tennessee and for being in one of the most dynamic and exciting cities in America. I hope you've seen that already in your short time here. You've come from all over the world, many of you from out of the country, and we welcome you to Tennessee. We certainly hope that you have an incredibly meaningful time to talk through and work together with those in your industry. And let me just say, Tony shared with you just a little bit about my interest in the transformation of lives through correction. I did work in a prison reentry program starting some 20 years ago, long before I ever even thought about politics or government. And in that process of mentoring men as they re-entered society, I learned an awful lot about how it is that you, in this industry, in this line of work that you do, how you have and we have a tremendous opportunity to serve the people in the region that we're called to serve, to reduce recidivism, to lower crime, to reduce the cost to taxpayers, to bring about needed correction. Most importantly, to be in the process of transformation in people's lives, whether it's through a protracted incarceration and the impact that has on a person, or whether it's in an alternative to incarceration that allows people to pay a penalty for their crime that is more appropriate to their future, or whether it's the way we re-enter folks into society, recognizing that the vast majority of people incarcerated are going to get out. And we have an obligation to society and to those that are getting out to continuously improve the process that we have there. I've met men in prison that changed my life, and when I became the governor, I decided that I would do everything I could to change the system for better. And this year we signed the Alternatives to Incarceration Act and the Success in Reentry Act. And one of the proudest moments that I've had as governor were signing those bills, because of the long history and the passion that I have around the work that you do every single day and the impact that it has on our world. Be encouraged. We are making a difference. You and your work and what happens in correction is often very misunderstood. Before I walked into prison the first time and heard the door close behind me with a little fear and trepidation in my heart, before I walked in there, I had no idea what I might find behind there. And once I did, and once I began that cadence, I realized that there was a lot more there than most of us ever recognize. You do recognize it. You know it. You're engaged in it every day. And I hope that even your coming together will allow you to share those practices and challenge and inspire one another to continue to move forward. Because as part of what you do, part of this country anyway, if you're doing it as a part of America, you are a part of making this country a more perfect union, and I'm grateful for the work that you do all across the world. So welcome to Tennessee. Thank you for what you do. Have a little fun while you're here. We love it when people come to Nashville and not just work, but go downtown and have a little fun as well. We welcome you. We thank you.
I just want to take an opportunity to tell, as your president, to tell each of you how much I appreciate you, your loyalty, your dedication, your support for the corrections industry. Over the last 18 months, I've witnessed the best, truly the best that corrections has to offer. You know, I remember one day leaving Nashville and the streets were bare. Businesses were closed. There's very little traffic on I-40, if you can believe that, for people from Tennessee. And as I traveled, I thought how COVID had basically shut down our world as we know it. But, you know, as I entered the parking lot of one of our facilities, I remembered seeing hundreds of vehicles. And thinking to myself, you know, each one of those vehicles represents a dedicated correctional employee who is today, like every day, working hard in the most difficult conditions to keep us all safe. Each one of those vehicles in that parking lot represents you, the men and the women who work in an industry that only a few understand and most would never attempt. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being that everyday first responder and hero. Thank you for working and supporting corrections.
To learn more about the Tennessee Department of Correction, visit our website at tn.gov/correction and follow us on social media.